sober from marijuana for probably about 100 days now. Well, 90 something days. I don't know the exact days. But it's been 90 days sober on marijuana. 90 days. I want to talk about it here. I want to talk about the experience. It took about 90 days, I would say. Probably more like 60 days to really get over it. But really, it's around the 90-day mark, and I've kind of completely forgot about it in a way. And I'm like, I feel normal again. I don't want to make this video for, anyone else. Maybe there's nothing wrong with it, obviously. It's a tool. But for instance, right now, I would not be down here making dinner, having a fire outside of nature if I was still on weed. I guarantee you, I'd be inside my room. And I would always create shit, art or music when I was high, and that's what I would use it for. But that would only last an hour, the creation aspect of it, and it is great for that. It allows you to connect to a higher frequency for a bit if you don't get really paranoid on it, which also would happen like 50% of the time. And it blocks your heart chakra. Whether you want to admit it or not. For the longest time I was using it, and there's lots of ideas like it's not addictive or it's healthy for you. And maybe it is, to a certain extent. But honestly, my experience with it is addictive. Even though it's not addictive, you don't go through withdrawals like you do with other substances. Or as intense withdrawals. You do, however, go through withdrawals. I've been smoking for maybe 10 years this year. And I realized that. And I was like, wow, I've been smoking for 10 years. And I had time off. I would take a month off. I wouldn't smoke every single day. When I had a job, I would, I wouldn't be smoking at work or anything. I know some people do that, which is crazy to me. I really couldn't do that. I just got too paranoid and then too lazy. Got too tired afterwards. But yeah, that's the first thing. You do get withdrawals. I want to talk about that. Woo. People are hot. Back. Yeah, you do get withdrawals. And those only last for like a week, The withdrawals can be kind of if you're smoking every day like I was probably, and sometimes all day, it makes you, first of all, not want to be social. It makes you, it's probably different for everybody, but for me, I didn't want to be social. I would get paranoid going. It just makes your self-worth go down. Not an insane amount, and you still can go do stuff, but your self-worth definitely goes down a little bit. Makes you not want to go into a store. Makes you not want to go interact with people. Makes you get annoyed at people just doing normal things. And of course you get creativity and stuff out of it. But you get into this mode where it's like, you're just thinking about when you can get high next. And you can't enjoy anything. And you most definitely can't love people in the way you should be loving people. And loving the world in the way you should be loving the world when you are paranoid like that. And once again, this is not, I don't regret it It's not a negative thing to do. It doesn't have to be a negative thing to do. It's not and this goes for everything. There's nothing morally wrong about it. But having been 90 days clean, and I never was someone to be like pushing sobriety. Like, I'll still have a drink once in a while. But really, so like the thing is, like, I would take mushrooms too. And the thing I've realized is, the reason I would take mushrooms and smoke weed is so I could get into this place where I didn't give a fuck, and I would go do wild things. And when I'm talking about wild things, it's like walk through the woods at night, completely in the dark, alone. Like, I would do shit like that. Or like take my bike and just ride my bike through the woods for an entire day. Like, take mushrooms, go ride my bike through the woods. Take mushrooms, go kayaking down a river for a whole day and just get lost in nature. And that's awesome. But you can do that anyway without that stuff. And it's just as awesome when you're sober. Now, those things, they're teachers. They teach you about the earth. They teach you about the energy. But at some point, you don't need them anymore. They teach you how to connect to a certain frequency. They communicate with you. They're very positive. But at some point, they just become a vice, and they are addictive. Even if people say weed's not addictive, it is addictive. It's hard to get off of. You go through withdrawals. Like, some of the withdrawals are, you can't eat. Like, you literally get sick, and it's so hard to eat. And you're like, you have to literally force food into yourself. I've gotten that. And obviously, eyesight, like, it fucks with your eyesight. You get sobered up. And all of a sudden you can see clearly again. Colors come back. Creativity. I would use it for creativity. And then for a long time afterwards, part of the withdrawal was no creativity. And not being able to get into this creative flow that I could get in when I was on weed. But I want you to know, if you're going through a similar situation, that you can get into that state without weed. And it will come back eventually. And it may take 90 days. And it seems like a long time, but it's really not. I ended up having to go to like a sobriety meeting to get off of it. It was just one, it got bad enough where I knew I didn't want to do it anymore. And it was becoming just a vice. And so I just took this step and I went to a sobriety meeting about it. And that's really what pushed me to get off of it, just to have that accountability. And I felt like, well, it's stupid for me to be going to a sobriety meeting. Like, I'm not addicted to heroin. I'm not addicted to coke. Although, that. But I felt like, I'm not trying to get off something hard. It's just weed. So I felt a little bit silly. But the truth is, weed is hard to get off of because it's not a hard drug. And you think it's like, oh, it's okay. And that's what makes it hard. And like I was saying, how it blocks your heart chakra. One of the first things that I noticed getting off of it is like, I can love everything again. I'm not paranoid all the time. It's hot. Just like, let it sit in there for a little bit longer. Gotta keep the bugs away with this fire. Totally stealing out of somebody's stash of wood here too. It's not mine. So what was I saying? Yeah. So at this point, after 90 days, I'm no longer, I just don't remember it anymore. I'm in a new reality where I've never done it, and I was never addicted to it. And at first, it just because it's harder to deal with life because you weren't dealing with life so long by just smoking all the time. Everything's more beautiful when you're sober. It just is. And you think it's not going to be. You think the weed was giving you some superpower, which in a way it was. But now you can connect to that same superpower without being on the thing anymore. And when you allow it to be gone for 90 days, it does actually take like 90 days for you to get back to just like always being high, basically, And there's still a craving a little bit, and I've been smoking cigarettes, which you could say is arguably worse. But not all the time. I'll buy a pack once in a while, but to help with just like the cravings of the smoke, like the addiction to the smoke even, because that's partly what it was. It's an addiction to the effect, but it's also addiction to the throat hit, to the packing the bowl, or the bong, or hitting the cart, or whatever it is. It was an addiction to that, and that first couple of seconds with that hit, But I also just wanted to say, like, there's a lot of people that go around with this hate for the police. And this is something I realized, like, I would do it too. Like, fuck the police. What's the point of the police? Like, we should be free. They're keeping us, And that all came from weed. That all came from the fact that I was high all the time. And I felt guilty about being high all the time. And occasionally driving high. And it came with paranoia. And it came with this hate for the police. And, like, all this shit. And, like, that, it's just all this extra shit that can just go away. And now I see the police officers and I love them just like I love everything else in the world. It's just a thought I had yesterday. I realized, like, what's wrong with police? Unless you're doing something that you feel bad about. If you have a problem with police, it means you have a problem with yourself, Like, I don't want to say some grand thing like your life's going to get 100 times better when you get sober. I'm not even recommending it. I'm not recommending being sober. You should only get sober, and you can only get sober if you want to get sober. And if you feel, Anyhow, this is just documenting how I feel and really expressing that it took 90 days. And now I go out in the woods and I do those things that I used to do on drugs. It's like stuff you would never do, right? It's like you're stressed out about life. You're doing all the life things. So you're like, let me take mushrooms. And you take mushrooms. And you're like, well, since I'm on mushrooms, I might as well go outside. And then it just leads you into this long, amazing adventure of just, having fun outside. Because you've set aside that time. Like, I know I'm taking mushrooms. I'm not going to be able to deal with anything in the world. So I might as well just have fun while I'm on them. But you could do that anyway if you just set aside that time and opened up that time for yourself. Like I'm doing right now. And like I said, if I was still smoking weed, yeah, maybe I would come down here, smoke a joint. Then I would be like, now I gotta drive back at some point. It's getting dark. I'm hearing noises. It would be a whole thing. And most likely, I just wouldn't come down here at all. Like I drove here, I stopped at the store, I bought something for dinner. If I was high, I would have had a hard time going in the store. Then I would have had an impossible time picking what to buy. I would have got lost in the store for an hour. And that's all great, and that's all fun. But it's a lower vibration experience as a whole. Even if you're connecting to your higher self, connecting to a higher frequency, and that's the reason you're doing it, that only lasts sometimes for 10 minutes. Sometimes that might last for an hour or two. But then you keep needing that thing, and you keep needing more, and you keep having to go buy more weed. And like it all, at some point it just becomes about, when am I gonna get high? When am I gonna get high? And is that not just as bad as any other addiction? Any other drug? And when it does wear off, when the high wears off, you're left in this dopamine-less state. And so then you're eating. That's what the munchies are. You're trying to get more dopamine because you got this huge boost of dopamine from the weed. And I used to be somebody who hated hearing this, by the way. You got this huge dopamine hit from the weed. And then it wears off. And you either have to smoke more, and then you're not quite as high. And you get into this foggy, especially when it's hot outside and you're getting high all day, there's nothing worse. For me, I don't understand how people do it. Unless you just are all in and you have so much weed and you can somehow maintain a high all day. But honestly, there was nothing worse than all that. Now I don't have to deal with any of that. And I feel better than I did when I would smoke. The honest truth. Yes, I had to go through that. Yes, the experience was valuable. There was nothing wrong with the experience. But life has become much more enjoyable. And it took 90 days. Mosquitoes, man. Gotta love them. But the other thing is, right, it always turns into it's weed, the weed runs out. Now I need more dopamine and I need to get higher. So then I drink. Or I do coke. Or mushrooms or acid. Or anything to get me higher than that. And this has been the argument for years, and I always thought it was a little bit bullshit. But it's also true. But I also want to say, and this is something a lot of people don't say, if you're not ready to make that change, if you're not ready to quit, if you're not ready to sober up, that's okay too. Because your life path may be to continue smoking for a while. And that's fine. If that's genuinely what's most exciting to you in this moment, that's okay too. I don't want to bash or make anybody. If I'm making you feel bad about something you like doing, don't listen to me. But one day, maybe you'll remember something I said when you do actually want to quit. And let me reiterate one more time. There's nothing wrong with it. For me, it got to be too much of a thing. And it might not be as difficult to quit as cocaine or heroin or meth or something like that. Crack. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But it is difficult to quit. And it's something people don't really talk about, I don't think. And they act like it's some kind of miracle drug. No withdrawals, no addiction. It just helps you. But it's just not true. And not to say it doesn't help some people, but it's just not true. And I was somebody who it helped. You know, I told myself I needed it, like I would be so depressed, and I just needed it. If I got that hit, I'm no longer depressed. I can create. But that, like I said, that lasts for an hour, and then I'm depressed the rest of my time. I'm no longer depressed. You know? So that's just my experience with it, really. This is really good. Just salmon. That is very good. And also there's a few other effects too. Negative effects. Like I would smoke before, you're not even supposed to smoke before bed really. But I would smoke before bed. I would smoke myself to sleep. It was like the only way I could fall asleep. And that's the other thing with weed. Hard to fall asleep, I think, when you're high. Until you just exhaust it and you just can't even stay awake anymore because you just fucking scrambled your brain out of existence. And then you fall asleep. But then you have to work the next day. And you'd wake up with this horrible, horrible feeling, this dread. And I always thought it was something wrong with me. Not wrong with me, but yeah, pretty much thought there was something wrong with me. Like I'd wake up in the morning, I'm like, I was smoking for 10 years and I didn't realize the effects of it. But just like so hard to get out of bed. Sometimes you can't even get out of bed. All this anxiety when you go to sleep about if you're gonna wake up in the morning. But then you're like, but I need it. I need it to create. It's my medicine. And it has value like that, but not as much as you think. Another effect of it, no dreams. When you start to get off of it, you get dreams. When you get a break, you get dreams. But in my experience, I couldn't really dream on it. And dreaming is important, I think. You can't get a full night's sleep, so that's why you're so exhausted in the morning. And it really takes a long time to get out of your system. Like a month. And so you're just loading up every day. And it's like, it never has any time to get out of your system. And like I said, it really takes a month for you to like begin to wake up again. And then 60 days and you feel better. Now it's been 90 days and I'm saying I feel great after 90 days. But it takes like 90 days. And I would say after smoking once, it takes a week for it to get out of your system at least, if not a month. And the effects of it, it's not just like I'm high for an hour or two, I'm unhigh. It carries over to the next day and the next day and the next day. It literally changes your reality when you smoke. And it's very hard to get off because the next day you're like, oh, well, if I could just smoke again, I'll feel a little bit better. Because it does that thing that all drugs do, which is once it's away, it makes your vibration lower. And then the only way you can get your vibration up without waiting a mass amount of time is to smoke again. So if you can get over that first or second, and that's the hardest. That first or second day is really difficult. That third day, that first week, that first 30 days, gets easier and easier. But that first couple days is rough. Just like, what am I doing? Weed's fine. It's not really that bad of a drug. I just want to feel good. I know if I get that hit, I'll feel better. That's why I'm saying, it really took me to go into a recovery meeting. And trust me, I walked up to those, I pulled into the meeting. No part of me wanted to go into that meeting. I mean, some part of me did because I drove there. But really, when I got up to those doors, I was like, I am not going in there. Wait, what? Am I crazy? I'm not. It's not that bad. Well, I'm here for weed. This is ridiculous. Why would I go in here? And so then literally I walked up the doors and I was going to turn around. I was going to leave. And somebody came out of the building, shook my hand and pulled me in. Literally pulled me in. And I thanked that person later on because I was like, I would not have come in here if you hadn't pulled me in. Made sure to come out and be like, get in here. And that was awesome. And obviously I took myself there, so I made the first step. But that guy, 80%. I did 80% of the work, but that guy helped with the last 20%, which I couldn't do. But yeah, so many positives of being, your energy level's up, your heart's open, you're not mad at everything and everybody, blaming. Just a better existence without it. And I know a lot of people know that, but I just wanted to say it here. So yeah, I hope that was helpful to somebody, at least. I know it's kind of long, but just watching me. You're eating dinner with me pretty much. Eating dinner and listening to me talk.